Hello and welcome back to the Pitt Resource Connection. I'm Mary Smith, the host, and now we'll be talking with Lynn James, who's now with the Pitt County Planning Department, right?
That's correct.
And we are going to talk about disaster recovery for Pitt County. Hurricane Matthew was a real boogaboo, wasn't he?
It was.
And we're still in recovery, even though it's over a year ago that it came barreling through here. A lot of people have forgotten about it, haven't they?
That's right. They have forgotten about it. And a lot of people we know still have needs in the community, and they may think it's too late, to get disaster recovery assistance. So we thought it was timely to do something to update the community and to let people know that it's not too late if they have needs.
So what is the current status of Pitt County with regards to the hurricane?
Well, I would start off by saying I wish I could tell you it was a quick process. The recovery process is a slower moving process than many people would like for it to be, but I can say that the county does have funding. The county has already started to qualify homeowners for assistance under some of the funding that we have received, and then other funding is still coming or just getting started. So there's a lot of people out there who have asked for assistance that have not yet received it, and there are people that we know are still calling to inquire periodically. And like I said, some who may think that they don't qualify or it's too late. But the first thing we did was start with the buyout for people who had excessive damage to their homes, such that it was not going to be possible to reoccupy the homes. That was the first thing that happened. FEMA came into the community and started to qualify people for buyout, hazard mitigation, so that we could get them out of harm's way. That process is still it's still ongoing, and the final determinations have not been made. Funding is not completely finalized yet for that process. So we're still waiting. We're on hold for those that have applied for that, but we have been told it's coming. It's closer than it was a month ago or 2 months ago. Then we have started to, like I said, qualify people who had damage to their home that wouldn't rise to the level of needing to move them, relocate them, but they need repairs, and that's kind of where the county is in the process.
So what I heard is homeowners. So you have to be the owner of your home to be eligible for any of these programs first and foremost.
That is correct. We are looking for people that were homeowners and that were occupying the home at the time the disaster occurred. So that's going to be a qualifying factor for any of the programs that we're dealing with. We're going to need to see evidence that the home was occupied at the time of the disaster.
What if the person, just had to fix something? I mean, like, let's say had to put in a new flooring because the flooding in the house caused the flooring to be all messed up, and they had to pay it out of pocket. Could they get reimbursed for something like that?
There is a possibility. There is a Community Development Block Grant disaster recovery money. This is a newer program, one that's just kind of getting underway. And it does have one of the criterion is reimbursement of out-of-pocket expenses. So that is a possibility. The key there is going to be that the owner would have receipts and photographs of the work that was done. Receipts, most importantly, to show that they either paid someone to do the work or that they bought materials and did the work. But there does need to be a tie back to the storm,
right,
and that evidence. Yes.
Okay. So the types of assistance you're talking about now were the buyouts, and then it's a different. What's the second kind? Well, the CB.
Well,
block grant, whatever. Community block.
There are two programs that can address repairs to the home. One is the essential single family rehab program that is for disaster recovery, and then the Community Development Block Grant program. Okay. They're both for disaster recovery. They both are looking at different types of repair assistance, and in the case of the CDBG program, they will consider reimbursement of out-of-pocket expenses. The CDBG program will also consider substantial repair of homes that were damaged and replacement of manufactured homes that were damaged, which other programs do not. So those are unique to the Community Development Block Grant Program. But when we're talking about repairs, we are looking at, again, a tie back to the storm and an assessment of how much damage there is. Most of the time the benchmark is $5,000 or more in damages that occurred, and then looking at the household income, the household size, and determining the ownership and the damage at the time of the storm.
And where does homeowners insurance come into play?
Well, we're asking that would be used first.
Right.
That's why people have homeowner insurance, is it's the first line of defense, you know, in the event something like this happens. So if people have used their homeowners, we're going to want to see that information. And then if their expenses exceeded what the homeowner insurance paid, then that's where it may be possible, again, to come back with reimbursement of out-of-pocket expense, or if there's additional work that needs to be done that couldn't be afforded because the homeowner's insurance didn't cover everything.
Like flooding, you know,
Correct.
you know, they may not have flood insurance, and so if their house got flooded, their homeowners is probably not going to cover that.
Many times that's the case. That's correct. And I will say, for homeowners that are in the floodplain that did not have did not have flood insurance, because that is the case, at least some of these programs will cover the cost of flood insurance for the first year, which could help some of these homeowners secure flood insurance against future damages that might occur. Now, they would have to maintain it after that first year, but that could be very helpful for somebody who maybe doesn't have it right now, but then they could save toward that in the coming years.
Right, exactly. And so how do they get started with something? I mean, because there may be people sitting out there going, I wonder if they would do this, and I wonder if they will do that. How do they get started to find out if they would be eligible for any of these programs? I
would say the best thing to do is to contact the planning department, the Pitt County Planning Department. Our number's 902-3250, and tell whoever they speak with that they're calling about flood damage and assistance with repairs to their home. And we can kind of talk them through what's available and maybe determine what might be the best course of action for them to take given their particular circumstance.
Right, and then there's a whole nother pot of money through the long-term recovery group that we have here.
That's right.
That you would refer to if it didn't meet your criteria, it may meet their criteria.
Absolutely. I can think of one situation where there was clearly flood damage to a home, but it did not reach the $5,000 threshold. So we have referred that household to the long-term recovery group, who's looking at unmet needs, and that home is going to be evaluated by, I think, the North Carolina Methodist group, and they're going to be looking at whether they can assist that homeowner.
Terrific. So if the people are out there and they say, okay, I think we'll fit in this, because they might be still living in the home that got damaged.
Correct.
And so they may beginning to see mold and mildew and things happening within their houses, which is not healthy for them to live there. If they contacted you, you know, would you schedule an appointment and then have them come in? And if so, what kind of information do they need to bring with them? I mean, the worst thing is to do is go, okay, I'm sorry, you should have brought these items in with you before we met.
Absolutely.
So is there like a checklist of things that they need to bring with them?
Yes, and we can provide a basic checklist of information, but key things are photo ID, Social Security cards for all members of the household, homeowners insurance if you've got it, to bring records that show the homeowner's insurance is in good standing. If you had flood insurance, those same documents. We also would want to see usually a utility bill that ties back to the date of the storm to help prove occupancy. And then if there's any other types of assistance you've already received, you know, information about that. We're going to want to see the deed to your home And those are kind of some of the key criterion that we'll be looking for to determine that what your eligibility would be and what might be the best program to qualify you for. Another thing that a lot of times people forget, though, is most of these programs are government funded, and so they're going to be looking to see that your taxes are current too.
Right.
So if it's local tax or state tax, they're going to be looking to make sure that you're current on taxes.
Okay. And if you're not,
if you're not, then they'll probably work with you, but there's going to have to be a plan in place, a payment plan in place. And if you're, and the question came up too about people who might be in foreclosure or on the verge of foreclosure. There is a foreclosure assistance program in North Carolina, so that doesn't automatically disqualify someone. They may be able to sign up for the foreclosure assistance program, and that could possibly mean the difference between them being able to qualify or not.
Okay.
So there's a lot of variables to consider, so don't disqualify yourself by not calling us to find out more information.
Okay, so the is it all types of property, like mobile homes, apartments, structures?
Yeah, there are a variety of
duplex?
different types of homes that can be assisted. Single family homes, manufactured homes, both single wide and double wide. They do not necessarily have to be attached to the property. It can be a single wide home as long as the owner has the title to the home. And then for landlords out there, there is through CDBG a small rental program that assists 8 properties or less. So if a landlord had 8 units or less, which could be duplexes, triplexes, or it could be 8 apartments. If they have 8 or less, there is a small rental program that could assist landlords whose properties receive damage.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of assistance out there that people probably don't know about.
That's correct.
Okay, and so then if we have questions, we're going to contact the planning office. You've given the phone number, and I think it's up there on the screen. The website they have could get more information, but the key to this is that even though it's been over a year, almost a year and a half since Matthew came through here, there is financial assistance available to those who were affected, but you have to show the proof of you being affected by the storm.
Correct.
Okay.
So the key word is it's not too, the key words are it's not too late. For some of these programs, people that applied early feel like they've been waiting forever because it takes a little while for these programs to get going. But they are going now, and so if you apply now, you actually won't be waiting as long perhaps as some people who applied earlier. So we just encourage people. And I would say 211 is another resource that's out there. The Community Development Block Grant Program is working directly with 211. So if you're not sure about that program and you want to call 211, they can give you more information and tell you how to proceed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's something we learned from the long-term recovery group, is that that's why it's called long-term, and that I think you said that the buyouts can take up to 6 years.
Correct.
And that's just amazing to me.
You just have to remember that we're not the only disaster. A lot of times people think we're the only ones, but lots of other communities are being assisted at the same time that North Carolina is. So it's a balancing act for everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Lynn, for coming in, and this has been really informative. Hopefully, if you're out there and you have individuals or yourselves that have been damaged by the storm, is to find out your eligibility, and as she said, don't disqualify yourself. Let them review your documents and see whether, if there are, what kinds of assistance might be ready for you.
That's right.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you guys for watching the Pitt Resource Connection.